You'll be able to see when you play the game the jump in visual quality for like the venues, the players, being able to capture to do so many mocap sessions and add so many swings and seeing them on the players, especially with Serena Williams and Roger Federer. You see all the details on the court surface, for example, the surfaces. When you play on clay, you can see the footmarks of the player. Same thing on grass, you can see the court wear over time. As a tennis fan myself, that really speaks to me, so I hope players will enjoy that.
It's been over a decade. Obviously, TopSpin 4 was 2011. Why bring TopSpin back now?
I think the main reason why we feel now is a good time is because we feel there's the renewed interest in tennis. I don't know if it has to do with the new wave of players coming in and maybe the fact that tennis in general is more unpredictable because of that. The last 20 years, as I'm sure you know, have been dominated by players like Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. So there was maybe less surprises than there are today. So I think, today is really what we think is the best time to bring the TopSpin franchise back to a new generation of players.
TopSpin 4 was released on PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo as well. Was there ever a thought about doing a Switch version potentially, or not?
Not at this point. That's something that we may consider in the future, but like it's not planned at this point.
Games development has changed a lot since 2011. You worked on TopSpin 4, but how has tennis changed since 2011? Is that something you've had to factor?
Tennis is more physical now. Like players are more like athletic. They can really return more balls and that sort of thing. So we try to capture that in the game as well. Hit the ball a little bit harder, have like more powerful serves, that sort of thing. So that's something the game tries to capture. But other than that, it's still like pretty much the same. Like the weapons that the players have at their disposal is pretty much the same. All the variety of tactics that they can use is the same. We just try, we watched a lot of tennis and try to see like every time, how can we get that in the game when it wasn't?
Is there anything you can tell us about career mode? If there is one even.
There is a career mode, so you're gonna create a player, take your created player in career mode and like climb in the rankings and play on the like more and more prestigious venues against more and more prestigious opponents. But we're gonna give more info on that in the coming weeks.
And TopSpin 4 was praised for the quality of the gameplay. You've added a few new things for this year to add to what was already some good gameplay. What were the challenges there with trying to not mess up the existing formula that works so well, but also add new stuff that might make it a bit better as well?
As you mentioned, the fact that the game released 13 years ago, the first question we had when we started development is it still fun to play? And it was, but we still identified a few things. So there's really different aspects that we try to improve. The first one is we wanted to make sure that every single mechanic of the game was very clearly explained. Like there was no things that players really struggled with or had a hard time understanding. So that's why we redid the TopSpin Academy. That's narrated by John McEnroe. So we really try to be as clear and transparent with every game mechanic. And then there's been a variety of gameplay improvements as well. Like I mentioned, the new signature animation. So when you play against different opponents, they're all going to have, or most of them at least, are going to have their own serve, forehand, backhand, all those animations. We try to make rallies shorter as well, so you can hit the ball when you have a perfect timing a little bit harder and hit more winners. If you do a bad timing or if you play a shot in bad conditions, the shot is more likely to go in the net or out, so you're more likely to make an error. So that's the kind of changes that we did to make the game feel, again, more authentic and for most of the time, feel like you're playing tennis.
One of the different things that it's taken me time to get used to is the way the meter system works now in TopSpin 2K25. In terms of it's before the shot rather than after the shot that you get the feedback.
Yeah, so the main reason why we decided to add that is in TopSpin 4, we only told you about your timing after the shot. So there was a message that appeared on screen telling you did it too soon, too late, good or perfect timing. What we were missing, and we had that feedback in the early user tests that we did, is players don't really get a good sense right away of when is the last moment or when does the game expect me to release the button to have a perfect timing. So that's why we added that real-time UI element to show you in real time when we expect you to release the button. So it takes a little bit of time getting used to because it's a new element that you need to understand and master, but we really think that in the long run it's going to help players be more consistent with their timing and be able to focus on other aspects of the game, such as the shot selection, aiming, and that sort of things.
Yeah, it's really satisfying when you get it right as well, because one of the things that I've been able to experience is the fact that the meter isn't the same it changes constantly, the timing, depending on where you are on the court. If you're behind, if you're running after the ball, if you've only got a short time, if your opponent's on the net and you've only got a short time to think about it as well. So it adds a sort of skill gap element in there as well. Is that something that you were keen to add in?
Perfect timing window is always the same. So what really changes is the window, how long it lasts for you to hit the perfect timing. And as you mentioned, it really depends, like in real tennis, of a lot of parameters, like how fast is the ball you're playing, how high is it, whether you're tired or not, the attributes, forehand or backhand attributes of your player. That's one of the elements we wanted to add to be one of the many factors that you have to take into consideration when you hit the ball.
Something else I wanted to mention as well is that fatigue or fitness bar, because I noticed it when I was in a rally and I had my opponent on the back foot, and I saw the meter go down. It does give you a little bit more motivation to be like, oh, I can go in for the kill now. They're tiring, you know. It's sort of is that one of the reasons why you had it in, just to give you an idea of where your opponent's at and where they could potentially be hurt by your shot?
Exactly. So that's a returning mechanic from TopSpin 4. We already had that like fatigue meter, and again, like in the intention that we have to be true to the sport, it's definitely something that you can play with. Like you can build your whole play style on that and trying to just like exhaust your opponent, making them move left and right to the point like they're getting really, really slow and they can get to the next ball, or they're going to be more likely to make an error because they're tired. So that's definitely like one of the elements that you can play with in the game to make your players as competitive as possible.
And how has games development changed since you worked on TopSpin 4? What are the major changes and challenges involved?
Consoles and PC games today are like in 4K, like everything is much more detailed than it was. You're going to see a lot more things on screen that you did before, so it's really adding all those different elements, and that's why we did a lot of work on all the characters that you can see around the court, the chair umpire, the ball boys and girls, the crowd, even like the crowd. We spend a lot of time improving the crowd, the way they look different based on the venue you're playing in, on the time of day that you're playing it. You can see like more sweaters, for example, at night, and more t-shirts and hats during the day. So all of that is something that players are more likely to notice because of the greater resolution that you can see on the game. So that was definitely like one of the main challenges.
Wimbledon is in TopSpin 2K25. It was missing from TopSpin 4. How important was that in terms of the authenticity of the game and making it available for all players, those kind of big venues?
It was really important. We really wanted to have all 4 Grand Slams, and we're really happy that we were able to secure them all. And we have more licensed venues that we're going to announce very soon. So in the intention of making the game as authentic as possible, I think that's a great contributor. Like when you play in Wimbledon, you can see all the sponsors around the court, all the details, the way the chair umpire chair looks like, the player benches, all of that, all the props around the court, they look like the real thing. So that's, for players who know tennis and who watch it on TV, I think it's a great addition for them.